once you've got a budget and once you've got a kind of allocation for that budget, we think you should be measuring that well. In the marketing world, we use lifetime value and customer acquisition cost as our sort of holy grail 2 commandments of measurement. And if you think about it, it's a very simple ROI, right? How much does it cost to get a customer? And then how much do we get from that customer over time? So lifetime value, and I'll show you a case study of this, is just the question of what value does the customer bring over time. It's a long-term view of customers. It's not cash flow. And that's something that I think is really important to kind of define. If you only have one-time sales, so for example, we've worked with a lot of home builders. There's not really an average deal size because most people don't buy multiple homes from the same home builder. Sometimes, every once in a while, but it's more like average deal size is their lifetime value. It raises this question of, how can big, expensive or inexpensive products justify big marketing budgets? And I'm going to show you this Starbucks example. So I'd love to know, and I'm going to look in the chat. I haven't been yet. What would you guess is the, oh, Matthew, you're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Your comment is very sweet, Matthew. What would you guess, and everybody get on your the little chat on Zoom, what would you guess is the lifetime value of a Starbucks customer? How much do you think people spend at Starbucks? Take a guess. And I'd love some guesses right there in the chat box. If anybody's 10K, Christina, 100K, 5K, good, 7, okay, these are good guesses. Shauna says 30, Bobby says 15.5, Lou says 62. Hey Lou, hey buddy. 40 months for a 24, okay, here, I'll show you. It's about $14,000. Who said, Bobby, you were so close. Of course you were. Okay, the average person is going to spend about 14 grand at Starbucks. Yeehaw. Let's talk about kind of what this means and how this comes to life in your marketing. Okay, so to figure out LTV, this looks like a big, fancy equation. Essentially, you're saying, what is your gross margin? So it's not on revenue, it's on gross margin, because we know cost of goods sold is a wash in the P&L anyway, right? So you start at gross margin and you factor in your retention rate. You use a basic discounted cash flow rate for a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. And you actually get an LTV number. So what you should see in here is gross margin, not revenue, gross margin. You have retention and you have a discounted rate, which gives you what it's worth today. So this is how LTV accounts for today as opposed to cash flow. Another way you can think of LTV if you want is total revenue from a client, but that's not going to give you great accuracy in some of your planning. So LTV is just, once I get a customer, what do I get from them? If you can invest in retention strategies, LTV is a great way to think about a customer because you're trying to grow LTV over time. Instead of acquiring new customers, you're trying to retain existing customers and growing your LTV. Okay, customer acquisition cost is the other piece of this. It's not just the cost of the click that drove the customer. So sometimes we'll talk to a new lead or a new customer and we'll say, do you know what your CAC is? Do you know what your customer acquisition cost is? And they'll say, yeah, we've been running Facebook ads and we're getting leads for $12 a piece. Yeah, but you have an entire sales team and you have an entire marketing department and okay, so you counted for hard cost, great. CAC should actually be sales and marketing and hard costs divided by the number of deals acquired over that period. right? So all sales and marketing cost, not other operating costs, because that should be accounted for in your LTV number. So if you're comparing LTV and CAC, customer acquisition cost is just pure sales and marketing, and LTV is gross margin times retention, and that gets you your accurate LTV. Okay, so LTV and CAC, these are just great numbers to know, and I want to plow through a couple quick ideas for these. Knowing your LTV and CAC, you should also know it sliced and diced. You might have different LTV and CAC based on product offering or geography or salesperson or customer service rep. You can have lots of different kind of combinations of LTV and CAC. I mean, even at Magneti, we've got projects, we've got retainers, we've got different industries. It's really helpful to kind of slice and dice LTV and CAC by kind of all these different categories. We call it the magic formula, which is just the ratio of a well-calculated LTV to a well-calculated CAC. In this simple example, you might get like a 4.2 ratio. Maybe in your industry, you know what these metrics are. In general, this is a total broad brush, but in general, 3 to 1. Now, again, this is if you've nailed your LTV and CAC calculations right. 3 to 1 is considered healthy. If it's 1 to 1, what that means is for every customer you're getting, you're just buying the next customer. It's a very kind of in one ear and out the other, right? So 1 to 1 is too low. But as soon as you get as high as 5 to 1, usually you could justify spending more on marketing, and you should be willing to let your CAC go up. Meaning maybe you're trying some new channels if you're getting to 5 to 1.